Here we go again, deja vu. Another year heading into March Madness where Gonzaga is regarded as one of the best teams, and another year where they're going to disappoint. It's not really a coincidence. Have you noticed that almost every single year for the past 10 years almost, that Gonzaga's always one of the best teams in the country? And oftentimes going into the NCAA tournament, they get a very good seeding. And every single year, everybody projects that finally they're going to break through and win a championship. They always do good in the regular season, but they can never break through in the tournament. For some odd reason, they just can't live up to the expectations and hype. But however, with that being said, maybe it's not an odd reason and maybe it's a legit reason. Most people always think they're good, but for the people that do have their doubts, it's always about this one simple thing. And that thing that they have their doubts about is that all throughout the season they play in a weak conference. I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. If you go undefeated or 30-1, 30-2, 28-5 or anything like that, yes, it's good. However, when you're playing teams like the University of Chattanooga Aquarium or Alabama, Mississippi, East Coast, Florida University, yeah, you get the point. They're not playing the best of the best competition. If they was playing in a Power 5 conference like the Big 10, Big 12, or the SEC, they wouldn't be doing all that. They'd probably still have winning seasons, but they wouldn't be running through it like they are with this conference. The remedy of Gonzaga is always the same every year. They absolutely dominate the competition in their league in the regular season, and they go into the NCAA tournament with a lot of attention. But once again, they prove every single year why going 29-1 or even undefeated in that conference isn't as impressive as it would be in a different conference. I do think this current Gonzaga team, they're really good, but we'll talk about them a little later in the video. I just want to throw this out at you. For the 2018 through 19 season, they had a number 1 seed in the tournament, won 3 games but lost to number 3 ranked Texas Tech. This was the number 1 seed, so therefore a lot of people were picking them to win. How about the year before though, 2017, when they was ranked as a 4 seed in the tournament, won 2 games and lost to number 9 Florida State. There we have it again, back-to-back seasons that are disappointing. You're losing to a team that's ranked lower than you in the tournament. Let's keep going though, we've got a long ways to go. It's not just 1 to 2 examples. The year prior, which was arguably the best year out of all of them I'm going to talk about, they was a number 1 seed once again. They even got to the championship game and played North Carolina, but ultimately they lost. You can say getting to the championship is good, and it is, but they're supposed to be winning these. They was the number 1 seed. How about in 2015 though? They was ranked as an 11th seed and shocked the country and won 2 games but lost to 10th ranked Syracuse. What about the year before that though? They was a 2 seed but still came up short against Duke. 2013, the year prior to that, they was an 8th seed, won the first game but lost the second game. But here we have another disappointing one, 2012, where they was a 1 seed again, won the first game but lost in the second round to Wichita State. That one's gotta hurt because 1 seed should not be losing in the second round. And quite frankly, we went through a lot, but I could keep going on and on and on, but it's all the same thing. We went through almost 8 to 9 seasons, and every season but 1 or 2, they was ranked as the higher seed and lost in the tournament. And in 3 or 4 of those seasons, they was the number 1 seed. Then to put the cherry on top of that, in almost every season combined, they was roughly 28 or 29 in 3 or 4. So they was a team that was roughly 30-3 going into the tournament and losing to teams that were like 19-11. And for some people, it mind boggles them because every year they project Gonzaga to break through and get over the hump. I think some people are overthinking it, and it's way more simple than you think. In their conference, we can all agree they're playing up against weak teams and weak opponents. So they get used to playing those weaker teams and they're not used to playing in close games. You're not going to get better playing against terrible teams. It's just not going to happen. The only way a great team like them are going to get better throughout the season is if they're playing other great teams. Also too, in the NCAA tournament, it really doesn't matter what your seed is, you're going to play in a couple close games. Therefore, you have to be ready and know what to do in those close games. But But for the Zags, I think that's what really hurts them because throughout the season they dominate the competition. So when they're in a close game, they're not used to it, and on the flip side, the other team is. You can practice all you want in game and late game situations, but there's nothing like actually doing it. Also, like I briefly stated, they're not used to playing other great teams and great players. So kind of similar to a late game situation, when they do come up against it, they really aren't used to it. To go along with all of that, if they do play a lower ranked team and they get down in the game, they don't know how to respond to it because they're not used to facing adversity. And when you're not used to something, not just in basketball, but anything in life, you don't know how to react. In all the seasons we talked about and over the past 10 to 15 years, I will say Gonzaga is a good / great basketball team and program. The real sad truth about this team is that they're a great basketball team, but they're just not prepared for the NCAA tournament. And that's really, and I mean really sad, because they're one of the best teams in the country, but when you're not prepared for March Madness, you can't win it. It really has nothing to do with the coaching staff either, because I think they do a great job there. They're just not playing great teams in the regular season, so they don't know how to prepare for them. Another thing that we need to note is that they've always been known for scoring the basketball, and in the tournament, you're going to have some games that are low scoring. In those low scoring games, they do have good defense, but typically they wind up losing them. Gonzaga, yeah, they're the #1 team in the country, but it's not the first time we've seen it happen. And quite frankly, it's almost normal to see them have that #1 spot going into the tournament. Here's the thing though, I'm going to make a bold prediction and say they're not going to win it this year once again. The reason for that is because we've had a great sample size of 10 to 15 years in the past where they've been a top tier team and they failed to meet the hype and expectations we've put on them. Around 2010 and 11, people were making an excuse saying there's a lot of pressure on them, but now there's no pressure on them really because people are used to seeing them fail. I really firmly believe it's just going to be another disappointing year for them, because if they don't win the championship, it's a disappointment. If you're a #1 ranked team in this tournament, you can't be just okay with even getting to the Elite 8 or Final 4. Like I stated, the truth about Gonzaga basketball is that they're just not prepared for this tournament. They haven't been prepared in the previous 5 years, the previous 10 years, the previous 15 years, and they're not going to be prepared this year. It has everything to do with their conference. Until they get into a better conference where they're used to playing top teams, things are not going to change. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Gonzaga. Will they win it and prove me wrong? Let me know your thoughts down below. But hey man, with all that being said, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.